Okay, so yeah, I'm taking invasive species and then like I'm the sourcer and then selling them to like energy, renewable energy and like bioplastic companies, so renewable materials. And so they've like created all this technology to take plants and then turn it into energy or turn it into stuff. And that takes a lot of time. And now these two companies are ready to actually have the species, but they spent years and years on R&D. And yeah, so I go around and get invasive species from different like parks and areas, lakes, and give them to the specific, like know about each species and know like composition and what it's best used for, and then give them to the companies. But as I'm about to graduate, it's better to have a co-founder, but only if they're actually as passionate about it as me. And so my thought is to work with a rice student at my school that will be here for at least one more year, because there's opportunities on campus and I think people at my school are really smart. So I can trust their intellect. That kind of just like is already a, a good thing. So it's just, how do I talk to these people about getting them and figuring out if they're the right fit? Just do like conversations.
Yeah. So clarifying for a founder position, you're looking to talk to potential founders and interview them, and how you might be able to go about that. Is that what you're?
Yeah. Like as a student, but I don't want to be like, okay, you're my founder. I want it to be like, hey, let's work on this project. Let's do this pitch for the school. Let's do this for this class and then see. But I don't know if when I can make a decision, like, I guess ideally I would have multiple people in my mind, multiple like candidates that I already know in different departments, and then have them do their work already related to it and see like, and just talk to them about it and then bring on more stuff, versus talking to like a business student, because I'm an ecologist with that also does entrepreneurship, and figuring out if a business student who's more like logistics, financials, just normal business stuff, if they are care about the environment, because that's kind of hard to find with business students.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, actually, I'm seeing more and more with business students, and there's actually a lot of studies out there that suggest that most businesses are, or potential entrepreneurs as well, want to create impact with their business and are looking for either social or environmental impact. So I think you'll find there's a lot of potential founders that would be aligned with what you're doing. Suzanne mentioned it. I don't know if this was to Sydney, but if you're welcome to unmute, Suzanne, and if it's in relation to Sydney, share your feedback as well.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the first thing I was thinking is, obviously, if you have a deck, and then when you build out a deck like a business plan, it helps you to, and it forces you to define what you bring to the table. And then you can reverse engineer, like if you're looking at the deck and like what you want the end goal to be, now you can reverse what the end goal is to what you bring to the table and define what are the primary traits and characteristics or resources that you want your partner to have. So is it logistics? Is it contacts in the industry? Like what is going to really, because if you think about it, you're likely going to go for, raise capital. So maybe wise to talk to some, a venture capitalist or an angel investor and see what battery of questions they ask you. And then that will sure help you frame who it is you're looking for and what you'll need from them.
Thanks.
That's great. Great feedback, Suzanne. Thank you. And to kind of go along with that, Sydney, as well, a deck is a wonderful way to really get your idea formalized in a message. But if you also have a clear idea of the challenges that you're needing that you can't satisfy with your own skill set, being able to identify those. But I like you had part of the answer, I think, already of first a small project, get to know that person, work through it's the same as a sales. Like when you're working in sales, warm calls are always better. And you're basically selling your business for someone to come in to it as a founder, right? And so get to know these people, use your network. You might already know your founder, right? And reach out, start talking. If you have a certain project that you're working on that you don't have the skill set for, right? That could be an early introduction point. Like, I'm working on this. Would you be interested in helping me out on this? And then build that relationship that way. And I've had my business partners, I've almost always found a business partner that way. And then just do your due diligence. Don't jump into that relationship too soon, to where you're splitting 50-50 with this partner. And then it turns out in a few weeks that they're not really as passionate, or they find something else. And always have, if you are going to start writing up terms for a founder, do a vesting schedule. Make sure that you say,
I don't know what the vesting schedule is.
Vesting.
Is that what that is?
What's that? Sorry.
Is vesting schedule like how much equity on a timeline?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
okay.
So you're going to give them a certain amount of equity agreed upon, and make sure that you don't give it all up front, right? Yeah. Unless they came into the project immediately when you've spent time already working on this business and the idea. And so that should account for something, right? And so just make sure that you have the agreement of what, if it's going to be a 50-50 split, that they come into it with, at least a vesting schedule of and you can look up different vesting schedules that work for what you're doing and figure that out on your own and kind of get an understanding, like really truly figure out what it is that you're going to give up in equity if you are, and how that is going to be given out over a certain amount of time. That's what a vesting schedule would be, right? There's also another form I've used with businesses, with a past business that didn't necessarily work out because I didn't have the legal structure set up the right way, but it's called Slicing Pie. And you can look it up. It's a book that you can read, and then you can actually apply the model of Slicing Pie, but it's for early equity partners. So Slicing Pie, like, a pie, like a baking pie. And look it up, and that's a really good resource just to kind of get your head wrapped around how I might share equity in a business in a very it's actually a regenerative way, the way that Slicing Pie is mapped out, but it doesn't necessarily work with a lot of the current business structures like LLC. It usually requires an LLC, but if you're raising capital, there's at any point you don't want to be an LLC, and it might mix things up, but it'll give you an idea of some ways, right? So there's a vesting schedule that you can use, and they'll talk about vesting schedules in Slicing Pie as well, or a way that you can use vesting schedules in Slicing Pie, but it'll give you an understanding of maybe how you can have that conversation with your potential founder.
Okay, thank you. I do have to head to class, so I guess I'll see you guys more in the future.
Yeah. We're here monthly.
Oh, okay, it's monthly, not weekly. Cool.
Okay. Ciao.
Good to meet you.